Here we go. Too close. So close. But so far. So, welcome back, everybody. We're back with another episode. Today will be an episode on actually college football. We'll be actually doing two episodes today, but as you can tell, Srebensky in his Arizona State hat. However, we're not talking about the Sun Devils just yet. Yes, he has.
However, I may be wearing Arizona, but I ordered Fago on Amazon. So I have a 12-pack of Fago. If you don't know what Fago is, order it on Amazon, get it to your house.
Yeah, Fago Red Pop is unbelievable. But today will be an episode on college football, and you'll be starting actually with this specific episode. We're going to be dedicating. It'll be a shorter episode. It'll be dedicated to the. Really, we'll just dedicate this one to the alliance that was actually just made today between the Big Ten, ACC, and the Pac-12. Obviously, this is in response to the fact that Texas, Oklahoma are jumping to the SEC, which makes it interesting what will happen to the Big 12 because there's nothing holding that conference together now, and I easily see that conference completely disbanding. There's already rumors of Iowa State and Kansas wanting to come to the Big 10. West Virginia wants to go to the ACC. So a lot of moving parts, obviously, with the moving of Texas, Oklahoma to the SEC to officially come into effect. I believe it was 2025, but depending on when they actually want to move, I doubt it'll. As of right now, it'll officially come into effect in 2025 when the agreements and everything with the Big 12 end. But I'm sure Texas and Oklahoma will just pay off the rest of that with the Big 12 and then just move out so they can go to the SEC. So I think that's pretty imminent. But obviously, this is a massive change to the college football, this is a college episode in general, but this is a big change to the entire college world of sports with Texas, Oklahoma, giant money makers going to the SEC, which now I think this is solely the whole alliance here with the Big Ten, Pac-12, ACC is solely because, well, they want the money. And if you want to compete with the SEC, who just got two of the biggest college football programs that you'll ever find, and two schools that are just absolutely loaded with money, then you want to try. They're trying to just make their own little alliance and create their own little money making scheme, getting different scheduling arrangements with each other. So, do I like this necessarily? No. I don't even know why Texas and Oklahoma need to jump ship to the SEC. Just stay in the dang Big 12, okay? I mean, seriously, is it that bad? But Texas, Oklahoma, going to the SEC. Giant Alliance was just announced today. We're recording this on August 24th. So, really, that's my opinion on it. I'm not the biggest fan of this whole Texas, Oklahoma moving. The alliance you kind of have to do if you want to compete with the super conference known as the SEC now. So, definitely very interesting, something to pay attention to. Now I'll hand it over to Srebensky for his thoughts on this whole thing.
I'm for it. See, I love it. Okay, whatever. The SEC is, I wonder if the SEC is going to move up to 10, bump out week 11 or 12, where plays the Citadel. And I wonder if they're just they have a 16-team super conference, put two conference teams, and then this with the new conference, see very many non-conference games between SEC or ACC and SEC teams. Like and Alabama week one. I don't know if we're ever going to see that again because scheduling priorities and all the other. I mean, the SEC is going to have games. I mean, they have 16 teams, and at least half of them are typically competitive. So that's I playoffs. I think it's inevitable. But right now, we have four super conferences, or not even super conferences, but four. We're not talking like, oh, the Pac-12 or the Big 12 being left out. Because we already know ACC, Ohio State's coming out of the ACC. And then it's just dependent on who on the Pac-12 and Big 12 is. But I want to see is I want to start seeing this Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 either 8 or 7 conference games. As fun as it is for Michigan to play 45 every year and Ohio State to walk all over Illinois, I don't want to see that every year. I don't. I want to see the fun matchups, like when we had Oklahoma, Ohio State do the home and home 2 years ago. That was so much fun. I want to see different games like that. And if we lower that, we can get more Ohio, Michigan, Florida game to, maybe Arizona State. I'd go watch that game. But I'd like to see different matchups and not as much cakewalk. Because what's the same thing we hear every year in the Big Ten? Oh, Ohio State looks good, but they've played nobody. And I'm not going to say that's not true because half the time Ohio State doesn't play anybody. And down to their opponents. They like to try and play down to half their opponents. So they don't ever look as good, but then they get in the playoffs and they're a lot better. So I see bigger schools from these conferences, just different matchups. I see Ohio State Rutgers every year. I just don't want to see that. I don't want to see Illinois Northwestern every year. Even though that's a rivalry, that was a little bit different. I don't want to see Illinois Minnesota every year. I don't want to see Clemson beat up on Florida State every single year. I want difference. I want different games, and this opportunity and scheduling preferences to have different games. I don't have to go down in conference games. They might just stay at 9 conference games. I would personally love to see them go down to either 8 or 7 conference games and play across the teams. That would be so much fun. And Notre Dame, please join the ACC at this point. Or the Big Ten, but it makes more sense to bring it to the ACC because you're already there for basketball.
Well, I'm sure eventually, because obviously, I think for sure that the Big 12 with Oklahoma, Texas moving out, I think the Big 12 is just going to completely collapse. You're going to see all those teams in that conference disperse somewhere. And I think you could very likely see, like I talked about earlier, Iowa State, Kansas jumping over to the Big 10. You can see West Virginia and Notre Dame, I would think, join the ACC.
West Virginia and Syracuse. Let's reignite that rivalry. That is such a fun rivalry. We kicked their butts in the Camping World Bowl a couple of years ago. And that's we own you. Sorry. We own you.
I mean, I honestly, I don't know. I just don't like. I don't like Texas, Oklahoma going to the SEC because it really is just causing a bunch of other problems in the NCAA. Now the SEC is just completely loaded. And I guess we were talking about college football expansion earlier. I guess we'll just talk about that too because we have never actually talked about all the college football expansion stuff as they're talking about a 12-team college football playoff. That is ridiculous. I am sorry. You want to expand it maybe a little bit to maybe 6 teams or maybe even 8. I don't want the whole expansion point because honestly, the only thing that this does is it makes it easier for the teams like Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State to make the playoff every single year. And that's what people complain about. You complain about having the exact same teams in the college football playoff all the time. They're like, well, let's expand it. Explain that's not going to change anything. Because even if the Ohio States or the Alabamas have a 1-loss or 2-loss season, you go to a 12-team college football playoff, they might be number 11, number 10. They're still going to get in the playoffs. So those spots are never going to change. So expanding really just makes it easier for the exact same teams to get in every single year. And what they always complain about too is the group of 5 teams don't ever get in. You want to get in? Play good teams. You see what Cincinnati's finally doing this year? They're finally playing Notre Dame and Indiana. Those are 2 very good opponents. Will they beat them? Who knows? But that's what it takes to get to the college football playoff. You have to beat the big competitors to make it. And if you don't, then you're not a championship team. That's just how it is. Just because you went 10-0, 9-0. I think that's what Cincinnati was last year. Just because you went 9-0, 10-0 against a bunch of group of 5 schools that nobody cares about doesn't mean you're going to be. Doesn't mean you're a fantastic team. I'm not saying you're bad. No, but I'm also saying you're not a Georgia. You're not an Alabama. You're not Ohio State. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, they play absolutely unbelievable teams. They beat good competition. Now, I get it. Your conference sucks, but you really want to make it to the playoff, you got to get some non-conference schedule going. And Cincinnati finally did that this year. I'm looking forward to that because they did schedule both Notre Dame and Indiana, which are both going to be ranked teams. Both of them are going to be good. So if they can beat one or the other of those, honestly, they beat both. I think they have a solid chance of making the playoff. But if they can beat them, I think Cincinnati definitely would have a shot at making the playoff.
Well, and that's what I'm saying about this whole conference. I text someone and whatever. I like the conference alliance where they're saying, look, we schedule these other opponents. I want to go down from to lower team. I want to go down from lower. So we can have all the bums beat each other up, and then the big boys can actually fight each other. Because, like, look, it's okay to let Ohio State play Illinois and Rutgers in Northwestern, but that's all they play half the time. When's the last time we've actually seen them play Wisconsin? I mean, like the actual good teams on the other side of the conference. They don't. Illinois and the Northwestern. So, like, I'd like to see those go up against bigger opponents to where we see each other beat each other up. But yeah, I'm totally with you. 6, 8 max. This thing in college football, playoffs is so hard to get to. Like, you have to be one of the make it. And if you're not, you aren't going to make it. And I feel like that's really, really hard to do. And I hope that we continue that. Or at least, I could see 6 or 8, though. I could see at least, I think 6 would be nice. Give the first 2 teams a bye. Or give the top 2 teams a bye. I think 6 would be nice. That would get us 5 games in the playoffs. The quarterfinals, 2 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, and the championship. That would be good. And then honestly, I think the Big 12, as far as the Big 12 goes, if it doesn't dissolve, I would like to see maybe some of the teams disperse, and then maybe bring in like the Cincinnati's, the Memphises, the Houstons of the world. Bring some of those teams in that don't play in good conferences, and at least they can play in a little bit better conferences. And maybe start scheduling out with other conferences. I don't know. That's an idea to throw around, but yeah, they got to just schedule better. But I don't know. I think this could be very future. They need to tone back on how many conference games there are. Priority scheduling with other conferences. You might as well give more non-conference games against good opponents. The better the game, the better the TV ratings. You know why most people don't care about the first 3 weeks of college football? Because half of the first 3 weeks of college football is these good teams playing bums. So nobody cares outside of the Penn State, Wisconsin, and Miami.
And Georgia, Clemson, obviously.
That was the other one. They at least did last week. I didn't even watch week 1 because there was just nothing but garbage on last year. What the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, wasn't that Alabama Duke? Was that last year?
Duke, Alabama was week 1 last year.
What is Alabama? Are you serious?
I
Dude,
don't.
is it the Chick-fil-A kickoff game supposed to be a good game. Duke to go against Alabama. Okay. Anyway, I don't really have much else to add to this, so if you have anything else to say, I think I've pretty much said all I need to say.
I mean, honestly, I remember something I saw about the whole expansion for college football. Just mentioning this because I liked it a lot. It was really funny. One of the comments that the guy put was, "College football is not college basketball." They're not the same thing. 68 teams aren't going to make it in college football. You can't have a college football tournament here.
No, people would get way too beat up.
Yeah, that would be really, really messy. But yeah, that's all we have for this one. Like I said, shorter video. We actually went over a little bit, 10 minutes, more like 15. But that's all we have for this one. Next one.
Indiana Iowa. That's also a good.
Yeah, there's a good decent amount of good week 1 games this
Week
year.
1 looks like it's going to be good, and then it's week 3. Notre Dame, Wisconsin, but week 3.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's quite a few good non-conference games to start off the year.
You'll see our thoughts about week 1 in the next video.
Yep, that will be the next one. We'll see you guys next time. If you want to see the latest video, click right above me. You want to see our other college football episodes, click over Stravinsky. And right in the middle will be your chance to subscribe to the channel. But that's all for us. See you next time.